Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. A little bit later than scheduled tonight, but it was worth watching Messi absolutely destroy Manchester City there at the very end, wasn't it? The Highbury Squad, the gift that keeps on giving, and some new voices for you tonight. Some you may know, some you may not. Here we go.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Good evening, all. Welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. Joining me once again is my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell. This is like a game show. I kind of like it. I might put Lucy up there. Look at that. Oh, no, but now her face is hidden because you're too low. I'm going to put myself back there. How about that? There we go. Right. This is the Arsenal New Voices show. You're looking at some faces that you may recognise already, but at the same time, they're new voices that we here on the Highbury Squad love to showcase and promote. It's a return for Mr. JJ on the top shelf there. Hello, James. Let everyone know.
Good evening.
I think they know you, but they don't.
Yes. Yeah, I'm back. Thank you for having me back. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Of course.
Really enjoyed my previous time, so it's great to be back.
Well, it's good to have you back, James. You've earned it. You're back.
Thank you.
All right, of course. And of course, Lucy, you will know from this season, our new panelist on Wednesday Women, and also one of our match day vloggers, absolutely smashing it on the Highbury Squad, and also does a show over on Lee Judge's channel with me on a Saturday night, ladies' night in. Welcome back, Luce.
Thank you. Pleasure as always. Lovely to be on again.
Where's your crazy dad? I have a feeling he's going to appear behind you anytime.
He always does. He loves it.
And someone I've gotten to know a little bit lately and very excited to have on the show for the very first time making his Highbury Squad debut is Albert. Albert, say hi and let everyone know a little bit about you and where they can find you.
Sophie, this is a pleasure. Sometimes with social media, you think, you know what, am I going to come across certain people? So I was kind of confident. I thought, I'll get to meet her one day. So it's a pleasure to be asked to come on, man, to be fair. And obviously KC's on the Kevin, I'm 21 plus VAT, so I remember you very, very well. So this is an honor. But yeah,
you're welcome, man.
Honestly,
You're welcome,
love, man. So,
you're welcome.
Thank you, Kevin.
Brilliant, top shelf stuff. Love having you guys here. And here's one of the reasons why, Kev, because what I love about what's happening at the Arsenal in particular this season is how fans from all generations are coming together and really supporting the team. And these guys really do represent a generation of Arsenal fans. I mean, I think I might be old enough to be their mums. I'm not sure, but I might be old enough to be their mum, Kev. No, Albert, you just look young. Is that right? You just look fresh.
Yeah, black doesn't crack in it, apparently.
I'm dead.
You tell it, Albert. You tell it, man.
You know, Kev, brother.
You got to keep it smooth, boss.
Yes.
Oh my God, top shelf already. I love it. And of course, remiss of me, I'm not giving myself another yellow card though. Kev,
I've done it already. I've done it already. Sophie, you are way behind.
I'm so busy today. I know. I've had one of those days, Super Kev, where I'm a bit of a hot mess today.
All I'm saying is, I've done it already for you, so don't worry.
Right.
He's on it.
So
he is on it.
I'm already on it.
Always smashing it in the back of the net. All right, let's start talking football. A huge win. And, someone wanted me to start the show by asking this question because I don't know if you guys saw, I had a bit of a tiff on Twitter today with Adrian Durham. And Kev was so proud of me. He completely got defensive and took things the wrong way, I think. And I like to also hold my hands up when I'm wrong. I know. Just let me know, Sophie, if I'm muting myself by accident today. I was talking for 2 minutes last night, Kev, and I had no sound.
Oh, geez, that's quality.
That's how much I miss you. Oh. So, he totally misunderstood my point about why does this have to be about how bad Spurs are? Why can't it just be about how good we were, especially in the first 35 minutes? And I've seen other teams get lauded for beating, if Brighton beat Man United or Aston Villa beat Man United, and Villa were great on the day. They were great. There's new signings. Dean Smith did a great job. It wasn't about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer losing 3 and 4 and Ronaldo coming in and then promising they were going to win the league and all these things. So, James, I'll start with you here. Are we an overreactionary fan base, or did we have every right to react the way we did beating Tottenham, considering the circumstances of how our season started?
Well, let's just look at it all in the big picture like we're doing, right? The year that we've all had, we're finally allowed to go back to games. If you're not allowed to, as a fan base, either at the ground or at home or on social media, if you support the club, to celebrate beating your, I want to say big rivals, but they're not. They're more noisy neighbours. If you can't celebrate beating your noisy neighbours at home convincingly in 42 minutes, not even a half. What are you allowed to enjoy? What are you allowed to enjoy anymore? I mean, I'm talking about ifs here. If on Saturday we somehow lose to Brighton, you've answered your own question just now. It won't be how great Graham Potter is, how great Brighton were. It will be cool. Weren't Arsenal terrible today? And they'll go through 1 to 11. Weren't that player terrible? Oh, I tell you what, Tony Adams about Tommy Asu at the weekend. Look how he was against Mopay today, or whoever it is they've got out wide playing there. Oh, wasn't Saka terrible? Oh, Smith Rowe, look how badly he was. It's a joke. It's a joke. I mean, we've not really. I'm only 30, but the whole time I've been alive, we've never really been loved media-wise. We've just got on and done our own thing and, just keep winning because it just keeps winding them up.
Albert, do you agree with James? Do you think that... because I don't care if we're in the 4th division or the 2nd division. If we batter them, it's a great day of football, and I think that's what's gone missing. But I also think because we've become such a bit of a dartboard that people see us differently. What's your take on how we've reacted to this and how it's been perceived in the media and made more about Spurs being garbage that day?
Yeah, that's kind of the narrative pushed more or less when the final whistle ended on Sunday. Really, the way I looked at it was I can take the game in isolation and what Arsenal have been this season and probably over the last few years. So, like James said, if you can't enjoy a win against your noisy neighbours, then when can you enjoy football? I mean, my voice is still recovering from Sunday. I mean, I had the pleasure, Sophie, of going on. I call her my Tottenham wife. I love her and I hate her really, but going on the Tottenham channel yesterday, it was beautiful. I couldn't stop smiling. My cheekbones were touching the ceiling. It was brilliant. But that's what football's about. It's true. If we go to Brighton and for whatever reason we lose the game, it won't be about Graham Potter, like James said. It will be how awful Arsenal were. You see sometimes the coverage Arsenal get, and I get having an opinion, but for me sometimes it can cross over the line with certain people, i.e. Adrian Durham, for example. I didn't want to mention his name, Sophie, but I've done it anyway, but it's fine. No,
I just think that, he then kind of made it about you guys got so excited after the 4-2 loose and, you were going to win the league and this and this. And I'm like, I didn't bring up the 4-2. I'm just happy. And we were stoked when we won the 4-2 at the Emirates as well. We were completely over the moon. Again, everyone expecting us to get bitch slapped by Spurs, but we're the ones that did the slapping. And then Torreira has an iconic moment. And then he mentioned Torreira and said, you guys, hounded him, ostracized him from the club. And I was like, clearly you don't know what you're talking about. Torreira made it clear he wanted to leave the club, and he will always be in our souls for that iconic moment. That will never be taken away. That was a cult hero moment that Arsenal fans will love and appreciate forever in time, Luce.
Well, I just think you can't really discredit any team in the Premier League, no matter what their form is. There's a reason it's one of the hardest leagues in the world to play against, to play in rather, and not just for the points. The North London derby it's more about the culture, it's the history, it's like you said, our noisy neighbours. There's always going to be that sort of animosity there that really drives you on to want to get the result. And being an Arsenal supporter is very much a double-edged sword, especially on Twitter and social media, because you celebrate a win and you get in ahead of yourself, and then you spread any sort of criticism, you say anything untoward about a certain player, and you're firing abuse. So you really can't win. Like I tweeted about our win the other day, saying, we can see our players have potential. The way they played the other day was amazing. And I got someone saying about that I'm getting ahead of myself and I need to calm down. Like you honestly can't win with our supporters.
Yeah. Super Kev, I loved how, and I clipped those moments before the North London derby, and I'm so happy you did, because you kind of did one of these, and we were both talking on the show last week about let your praise be as loud as your criticism. Whether you are an Arsenal fan, whether you thought it's the players, Arteta, whoever it is, in moments like that, just let your praise be as loud as your criticism. Don't try and dig out your own fellow fans, and really stick together, because the media right away, Graham Souness, I hear, went on the offensive about the Arsenal. You preached about it, Kev. What's your take?
For me, it was Arsenal's doing, because no matter how the opposition set up, you still have to exploit them. You still have to score the goals. We've seen Arsenal struggle to break teams down previously. And let's be honest, when we were playing Norwich and when we played Burnley, we didn't look great. We got the result because of attitude and workman. We were like workmanlike, but we weren't free-flowing or whatever. You look at the Spurs side, they fancied us. Remember, they won the league a few weeks ago. And nobody said how bad Man City were when they beat them on the first day. They were lauded. Oh, fantastic. Nuno's making a difference. Even Arsenal fans were lumping on. Nuno's making a difference. Look, you could see what he's doing. What now? What now? Crystal Palace slapped them. Chelsea slapped them, and then in the North London derby, biggest game of the season so far, we give them a beating. We season them, put them on the grill, and
Barbecue.
we cooked them. We cooked them, Albert. We cooked them.
100%.
So, you know what? The likes of this media, they've always, Lucy said it, Albert said it, James said it, you said it, so they've always been against Arsenal. But you know what we've got to do? We've got to use it as the fuel. We've got to use it, because we seem to come together when they're all firing the shots. And I know we have our own infighting, but hey, we're a family. We could fight on the inside. But when it comes to the outside, we have to have that. Yeah, jerk the chicken. We have to have that, that united front where you're not going to have a go at any of us gooners, especially the team, not on my watch. So good on you, Sophie, for shouting him out. Good on you.
Yeah, I mean, I just think sometimes you just have to say it, and you know, I think I went as far, because he said, you know, I praise this, and then he said, you should know better. This is how a national station is run. It can't always be about the Arsenal. And I said, oh, so when you had your daily Arsenal, was that about the Arsenal? Or not, you know? And then he said, well, I had Dennis Bergkamp on the Daily Arsenal. I'm like, once in how many years? Anyway, the point is that when you challenge some of these folks as well, and look, I do segments on TalkSport, but I'm glad that Kevin and I do get to do these segments on TalkSport, because we get to speak about the club in a completely different way. We get to position our narrative in a completely different way. And I think that we definitely all have a responsibility when those things happen to defend our club. But also, I am very open, and I wanted to get you guys and your take on this, because another thing I think that's happening, and I spoke about it a little bit on the show last night, is everyone's digging out old tweets to see who said what. You know, who gave Arteta crap, who was against the players, who was this, who was that. And then today I was like, stop it. Stop stop. At some point, I'm like, stop trying to defend your position. Stop trying to defend other people's positions. Just stop. Because my point yesterday was, why can't we just enjoy the moment? Whether you were critical of Arteta or the players, why can't they all of a sudden have come together that maybe this is the new roadmap for the Arsenal? So, James, I'll swing it back to you, because I know that you and I had conversations about Arteta a lot.
Yeah.
And for me, as excited as I am, and I love beating Tottenham, now we got to be consistent, like Kev says. Got to beat Brighton. Let's go on a run. The jury is still out, but we're seeing signs of improvement. And that is to do with what Kev said all along, is that we do have better players. Go on, James.
Yeah, I mean, I had a Twitter anniversary come through the other day. I think I've been on there 10 years and whatever. And when I signed up, I did read the terms and conditions a bit. I didn't read all of it. I haven't got that much time in a day. But I forgot to read the bit that said you're not allowed to change your mind. Apparently, if you're a football fan, you can't say something before, and then when it goes wrong, you're not allowed to eat humble pie, according to Twitter. It's not allowed. I mean, I'll throw myself under the bus right now. When Ramsdale signed, I had serious reservations, mainly because of the fee, because that to me indicated that's not a second choice goalkeeper fee. So I'm like, well, why are you doing that if Leno's going to stay around? Because you're clearly not going to play him if Leno's there. And we've all seen Leno's capitulated. Leno's said he doesn't want to be there anymore. Ramsdale's come in, and then you see all this additional material as well about how when Ramsdale was signed, Edu was looking at the other goalkeeper, I believe Neto from Barcelona, and Arteta told him no, because he looked at the stats and the data for high claims and crosses and said, I need this guy, because we're getting pumped on the second ball from set plays and pumped on the second ball again. It was like if you watch that Burnley game, every corner that they took, he's bringing it into his chest, whereas Leno would have gone dunk, and then either Barnes or whoever is heading that onto someone else, or Tarkovsky or me or whatever's flicking it onto Barnes and everybody. So, you know, a lot of things were said about the transfer window, but if you look, the last 3 games from the man of the matches that the fans have given from the club, Wimbledon was Tavares. I believe the Burnley game was Ramsdale, and then Spurs was Tomiyasu. So all 3 of those new signings have come in. You know, there were people questioning Tomiyasu because, okay, Serie A has been available to watch over here, but it was behind a paywall. It's not now. But, you know, people were slagging that signing off, going, you know, oh, why are, you know, oh, they're only signing him so they can sell more shirts overseas, and that old cliche coming out again. And
rubbish.
The guy's amazing. The guy's absolutely amazing. Everyone said this guy can't go forward. Do you see how much he was? Do you see how much he was calling for the ball at the weekend? He's like, here. You know, the London Marathon is this Saturday coming. I thought Odegaard and Tomiyasu were doing it on Sunday. I thought they're doing it a week ahead.
Albert, it's true. Like, you know, a lot of I'm really proud of the fact that we stood by all of the signings. I've got to be honest, I did ask the question. I didn't question Tomiyasu's talent, but if we're raising our hands and being honest here, I did ask the question about also him being a marketing tool for the team internationally. And, you know, that's not a bad question to ask, especially if you have a marketing and PR brain. And if you can increase sales of shirts or fandom in Japan, why not if you have a player like that? But what is your take on, we stood by Ramsdale, we stood up for Ben White, we got killed for it, and sometimes we're also battling our own fans as well as people outside of the club.
Yeah, tell me about it. With the Ramsdale, I'll be honest, with all the players that Arsenal were linked with in the summer, I must admit with Aaron Ramsdale, I did not see that coming. I don't know where that came from. But one thing I must say, and I've mentioned this before, quite a few months ago. When I saw Aaron Ramsdale's interview on Arsenal.com, I've never seen a footballer so proud to join a football club. That brought a smile to my face, because Arsenal haven't brought a smile to a lot of Arsenal fans' faces for a long time. But that in isolation alone, you know, I'll call him Aaron flipping Ramsdale. Aaron Rambo Ramsdale. I like the way James touched on it. I like the way he commands the area. That's the key thing for a goalkeeper, because it gives your defense more assurity and more confidence to have a bit more stability. One thing I've sort of homed in on this season in terms of the defense was I want to see a settled 11, obviously, under Arteta, because he's been there a long time now. But I want to see a settled back four, back five. And I think with the signing with Tomiyasu especially, and I've always said this in terms of with Hector Bellerin, it's never personal with him. I just felt, even before the ACL, I didn't see any improvement in his game, in his position in terms of defensively, offensively, and defensively. And with the signing of Tomiyasu especially, it just goes to show there were right backs out there, Sophie, that are, when I watch modern day football, for example, when I watch a wing back or a right back or a left back, whatever, I like to see the dynamism and the athleticism and the positional sense. And Tomiyasu, I mean, absolutely marks Son out the game completely. Yes, this is the early stage of his Arsenal career. They said, it's only 60 minutes against Norwich. I thought, okay, but you know what? He's going to get a test against Burnley, against Dwight McNeil, because he's a good footballer. Dealt with him on against Burnley. Dealt with Son. If he continues, from what I've seen this season so far, he's going to be a firm Arsenal fans' favourite for a long, long time to come. Ben White is a victim of being English. Comes with a premium. You're going to have to pay. You have to pay the odds to get him. With him and Gabriel, even from the game on Sunday, for example, when I talk about aggression that Arsenal showed, I'm not talking about smashing people up in the air. If you just cut to the still shots of the fist pumping from Ramsdale, the chest pumping from Gabriel and Ben White, the rallying from the crowd from Erdegaard, that's the type of leadership I want to see. That's going to bring joy to Arsenal fans' faces. Yes, it's a North London derby, but the more we see it, that's what I like to see.
Yeah. And I think we're all loving it, Luce. And you were there at the game. Didn't seem there was too much of a delay to get through the turnstiles this weekend. I'd love for you to, one of the things that we've also said on the show is in the last few days is how epic the fans have been in the stadium. And sometimes I think, Kev made it clear last week, Arsenal fans, the barometer are not the keyboard warriors you find on Twitter or social media, the abusers, the bullies. Arsenal fans are rich in their knowledge, in their support for the club, whether you go through the turnstiles, whether you wake up at 4:30 a.m. in the morning. But you guys did a phenomenal job getting behind the team this weekend. The atmosphere was electric. You can see fans gravitating to a Tomiyasu and a Ramsdale. This is how they quickly become cult heroes. What's your take, Luce, on kind of the fans embracing these players now versus some of them attacking them when we signed them, and maybe us just starting with a blank canvas and say, hey, let's move forward?
Yeah, honestly, the fans were a credit to the club on Sunday. I mean, obviously, North London derby, you need to get behind the team. It's a part of the whole experience. But getting behind these new signings hasn't really been difficult just because of the performances that we've seen so far. Like Tomiyasu and Ramsdale have just gelled into this team so perfectly. They look like they've been playing there for seasons prior. So it's not a difficult feat. I'm just hoping that the consistency from both parties carries on. So the atmosphere continues to be what it has been for the past few games, and the players continue to have that sense of sort of passion and belief on the pitch, because you can see it makes a difference when the fans turn up as well. Absolutely.
So Kev, with all that said, all the euphoria and all the excitement, you've been in these situations where you've played in a North London derby and maybe won the next game or not. I was telling Tony today, I couldn't stop thinking what Kev said to me on the show. You win this game, you can carry it until the next North London derby. However, sandwiched in between that is a lot of football and a lot of teams that we've got to face. Can you explain from the player point of view to us all, and anyone jump in, you can ask Kev anything here, anything football related.
Within reason, yeah.
Within reason. How is it certain teams or players, and maybe we need to see more of this team, how can they take that energy, that togetherness, the way they played against Tottenham, and adapt it to a Brighton, to a Leeds, to an Everton? How do you do that? How do we keep that going? That's the part I think a lot of Arsenal fans want to make sure continues.
Sophie, it's easy. It's easy how you do it. Our problem has been when the game plan is set, we haven't been able to execute on the pitch. And again, it comes down to the players. As players, you enjoy this win. Of course you do. You're going to be high. You maybe had a day off yesterday. You go in today and you start planning for Brighton. The game plan starts getting set. You can work out what's what, who's who. You try and work out how they're going to play, if there's going to be any changes. And you start working on the game plan. And the key to everything is when you get to that game, the attitude, the mentality, the toughness, and ultimately the result has to be the same. They're going to be confident because they beat Spurs. They've won the last 3 games. But the attitude has to be right. We have seen Arsenal win big games and then go the next game and flop. Why? Because the players who go out on the pitch have been a yard short, Sophie. They haven't been fully committed. We've seen it time and time again. And I asked you at the start of the season, what do you want, Sophie? What do you want from this Arsenal? You turned around and said, you want consistency. Now,
Yes.
they've ticked a massive box since the last transfer window. We beat Brighton. That is a perfect block of games, 5 games, until the next until the next international break. The key is we've got to keep ticking those boxes and reaching those levels. That's so important. And we're starting to see players on the pitch who we can relate to now. There's Tomiyasu, there's players who are getting stuck in. Don't care about the names of the opposition, Son or McNeil or whoever. Tomiyasu's getting stuck in. Gabriel come back, he's getting stuck in. You see in Ødegaard, a lot of people question Ødegaard. You see, he's running off his quality on the ball, but his work rate off the ball was phenomenal. That resonates with fans. Now, if we see it against Spurs and don't see it against Brighton, it makes no sense. So now they're setting their own levels, the team. And as long as we can stick to those levels, give us the commitment, 100%, the commitment, the attitude, and the toughness, the result should take care of itself, Soph.
Okay, so as fans, one of the things I want to see, guys, and you guys can jump in, is, okay, so Kev and everyone, we've seen players come in and do well, and then Arteta, maybe it's because he didn't have his complete team last season where Pepe would have 2 or 3 games and he would bench him, right? So now you go into Brighton. Is it possible for us, and I'll start with you, Albert, to keep the same team? For sure, that back line to me is set. That is it. Those are the guys. And that's a beautiful thing to see if you're an Arsenal fan, to have that, one of our Achilles heel, finally be like, okay, you know what? These guys could be together for a long time. What do you do, Albert? Do you keep the same team? Do you hope Arteta does, understanding like an international break is coming? So why not maybe play the same team? Where'd you lie there?
I think he's got...
Go on, Kev. Okay.
Go on, Kev. Sorry, mate.
One problem, Jacko's injured. So there's going to be a change.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
6 to 8 weeks.
How he
That's true.
changes, I think how he changes could be vital. Sorry, Albert. I just wanted to make that.
No, but so let's
That's
talk
right.
about that. Go on, Albert. Jump in, and then we'll get Kev's take on it after.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I think the fact that we haven't got European football is a big factor for this season. But the counter argument, which Kev has just highlighted in terms of obviously Jacko and what Lou said about Jacko being out for 6 to 8 weeks. So it leaves us a tiny bit light in midfield. But I think sort of what I wanted to see kind of this season, particularly with Arteta, which I mentioned earlier, was having a more settled 11, because there was too much chopping and changing. I think that was an issue in regards to why our combination play wasn't great. There was no chemistry, or something was always missing. One thing you guys might disagree or agree, but I don't particularly think we start games very well. We don't start games on the front foot, which is why it was good to see what we saw against Tottenham. That first 20 minutes, in terms of Kevin mentioned about Ødegaard, I thought he was exceptional, and he is. It's obvious to me that whether it's Arteta said something to him or Odegaard takes it on board himself, or it's a mixture of both. He's always the first person to instigate the press. Then comes Aubameyang or Saka or ESR. Then the midfield can push further 10 yards up the pitch. So I think he's got a less room for excuses not to pick a more of a consistent 11 going into the next period of 5 games. So it'd be interesting to see. I do take on board that obviously Xhaka's out for 6 to 8 weeks, but I do think there's more chance to have more of a settled team. So if I only expect probably a couple of tweaks in terms of the 11.
Luce, you were really vocal about Xhaka, and we talked about him last week. I don't think any Arsenal fan really wanted Xhaka to start. I had defended him a lot for many months, a couple years maybe, stood by him, but after some of his petulance and bad behaviour, and with Arteta trying to kind of push him as a continual leader, then he makes mistakes on the pitch, at some point you look like a fool defending him. But then he comes back and he continues to prove everybody wrong, because you can say that in this game he did his job. What's your take on the team going into Brighton? I know how you feel about Xhaka, and, you know, we talked about the forward line and Pepe too. It's good to have a problem with choices, finally, as a manager.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And just to touch on what Kev said prior as well, the fact that we put in such a good performance, yeah, it's great, but if anything, that puts even more pressure on these players, because now we've seen what they can do, and we've seen the strongest lineup that we've seen so far, in my opinion. Xhaka had a good game by his standards. Do I want him leading the way at the club? No, that hasn't changed my opinion. I don't think he's the person that's going to take us forward. I think, like, he did his job. He didn't make any mistakes. There wasn't any stupid errors. But I don't want to see any player going off injured. It's horrible to see. That's not what you want for your team. But do I want him in a starting 11? No, I think Sambi's more than ready. I think he's more than capable. When he came on, he looked strong enough. When people were questioning his defensive skills, I think he came through. I don't think Xhaka is the option going forward, personally.
James, what's your take on the team and going into Brighton? And if you see tweaks, for example, there are some people in chat saying, is Lacazette's career over now at Arsenal? I mean, look, it's just one win on the North London derby. I'm excited by it too, but let's not get too carried away here. He's going to need this squad going forward throughout the season. Pepe may have to work his arse off to get back into the squad. What's your take about Brighton?
So I know you have Josh for this whole segment each week. I don't want to steal Josh's thunder.
You can steal it.
Smash him up, James. Smash him up. I'm telling you.
Okay, so you Albert, you made fantastic points about how having a settled back five is important, because last season, injuries and everything else, Arteta picked 7 different combinations at centre back, and then he picked 6 left backs throughout the season. And another really interesting thing is when the season ends, I'm a bit of a nerd anyway, that's just how I am, but all the stats for the year come up, and it showed the passing patterns, and many people have mentioned it, they're all left side dominant. Well, now that you've got Tomiyasu and you've moved Saka back to the right, you can go down there. You've got Odegaard and Partey, you can go through the middle. So the whole type of play that you want to play changes, is completely changed. Now, for me, what I would do, back five picks itself, so don't worry about that. But I would go Partey at the base. I would go back to Odegaard and Smith Rowe as those 2 10s. Yeah. And I'd put Martinelli on the left, because Brighton have got massive lads. And you're not going to pump the ball over the top, but go in behind with pace. And what's Martinelli got? Pace, and he's also got finishing. That's what I'd do. I'd just run them.
Kev, what's your take on what the guys are saying? And then also, of course, you rightly reminded me that Xhaka's going to be out, so there's no Xhaka. It's only Tuesday, still a few days left before the big match on Saturday. What's your take?
My take is the manager probably could do one of 2 things. It's either you could do a straight shot for Sambi, put Sambi right beside Thomas Partey, you keep the back 5 solid, You put Sambi beside Thomas Partey. Sambi's good. He's quality on the ball. He's got energy. He's got a lot more energy than Jacko has. Maybe hasn't got as much experience. And you keep the front boys, because every single one of the front three scored, and Odegaard was influential. So you keep it that way. That's one system. But also the system he played at Burnley, what James alluded to, Thomas Partey's the sitter in front of the two centre-halves. And then you get Odegaard, Smith-Rowe in front of him. Martinelli, I'm not sure. You could put him there, but then you could say Pepe would be really cheesed off because, hey, listen, I got dropped from this game. We won the last game. He got dropped. Obviously, Saka has to play and another. So whether you're going to choose Martinelli or you're going to choose Pepe, one of those can come into the side, and obviously Aubameyang at the top. If Aubameyang plays like he did on Sunday, Brighton are on notice. They've probably watched that game in the team hotel or at home or whatever on Sunday. And they've probably gone, oh my God. Normally they're like Arsenal were a bit soft.
Normally they'd be like, oh, Arsenal, easy points.
Well, they fancy themselves against us. But now they're seeing Gabriel at the back, Tomiyasu, Ben White. Do you know what a lot of people didn't give Ben White credit for? Harry Kane didn't want it with Gabriel.
Yeah.
He didn't want it with Gabriel. So what did he do? He moved on to Ben White, and Ben White dealt with him.
Yeah, 100%.
I keep hearing a lot of people saying that Ben White can't do this, he can't do that. Nobody gives Ben White credit for dealing with Harry Kane, but I do, and I'm sure we do. Yeah, I just think now is the time where it's time for us to step forward as a squad. Step forward. Whoever comes in now has a chance to keep a place.
Kev, one of the things you and I have talked about in the past too, and you guys have all seen it as fans, there were certain teams that the Arsenal had where you stood in the tunnel and we intimidated them. We haven't had that in a very long time. Now, I am not saying by any stretch of the imagination that this team is that team yet. But you bring up a really good point, Kev, because people weren't afraid to face Kolasinac or Mustafi or Sokratis. I'd love to stand up for Sokratis, but I can't. People weren't afraid of, and I would say maybe El Neni will feature this weekend. I don't know. But people, those are the players they've seen. They know. They don't fear at all. They see the team sheet and they're like...
They're happy to play against themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Lucy said it right. Brighton look at it and think, oh, we could get points here. Against Arsenal, they're thinking we could get points. Normally they should be thinking, look who they've got playing. We've got to be on our game today, and that puts a different pressure on the opposition. That's why a lot of times the opposition were beat before they even took the pitch, because there's so many different factors that they have to take into consideration.
Yeah, I mean, I think too, with Ben White, you definitely bring up a really good point. I mean, I defended him to the point where United and City fans just absolutely trounced me because I suggested that maybe one day he could be as good as Harry Maguire and John Stones. God forbid you could say that about any Arsenal player being good, like in the future. But what I love is that you said something, Kevin. I want to get it from these guys as fans. I've felt that we've had a very unlikable team for a long time. Not every player, because we love Saka, we love Emile Smith-Rowe, Tierney, we love Aubameyang, we just wanted him to be better, right? But there are polarizing figures, and they were. And I don't think people hate Lacazette or Pepe, but the Kolasinacs and the Mustafis of the world, and the Ozils even towards the end, Lucy, I'll start with you. They were unlikable. It got to the point where I just didn't even want to buy a new shirt because I was like, I love the club, but these players, I don't want to follow them to the end of the earth. There's nothing to like about them. They were apathetic. They didn't show care, consideration, tenacity, fight, grit, determination, none of it. Would you agree, Luce?
Absolutely. And it wasn't just a case of the quality, even though like 35 million for Mustafi I don't know who made that decision, but I digress. It was like you said, it was the way that they lost, the way that the goals were conceded, the way that we just looked defeated. You see some of them players when we were losing, even when we lost to City, they just looked like ashamed. Like, go out and fight. Like, you know, show some tenacity, show some ruthlessness, and show us that you actually want to be there. And that was the best part about Sunday, was that there was passion, and you could see it even from the new guys. Like, they want to play for the team, and Ramsdale especially, like, even through all the abuse that people threw at him, even before he'd even put on one of our shirts, he went out there and he performed for us, and he proved his worth. And that's what we need these players to be doing. And I keep seeing comments like, oh, Pepe will be fuming if he gets dropped. Laka's going to be fuming if he doesn't get playtime. Like, it's a competitive sport. There's always going to be someone better than you. So fight for your place. That's the whole point, is competition. Absolutely. Let them be mad. Fight for your place, man.
I do like that, guys. I really do. I love how Adu and Arteta were ruthless in January. Ask Kev, I said it's our best transfer window in years, that January window, to get rid of the clique and the apathy and the players that just didn't want to be there and that weren't, you know, grinding out and playing for the team. But I wanted... yes, mate.
Did you see Mesut Ozil's...
yes.
I dug him out last night, Kev. I couldn't help. I just went for it. I just was like, okay, who's on my list? 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom,
give him a backhand and box him.
I took a leaf out of the old Legends book here, and I say old. I said old, no. The Young Legends book here, and I broke some necks, Kev.
Broke him, Nick. Broke him up.
By the way, it's time to... we've got to bring Vinny
Go
out.
on, Vinny. Go on, Vinny. Hit it. Kiss it. Hit it. Nose it if you have to. Touch it. Caress it. But press the like button, guys. Come on.
Yes, people. Smash.
400 in live chat. Thanks to everyone for joining us. We hope you're enjoying the discussion. But yeah, I mean, Ozil, where was his little broken heart and trust the process? When you're getting trolled by your ex-players, you know that there have been major problems at the club, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But also, how disrespectful. The dude, just go away. Why can't he and Emi Martinez just go away? They're acting like scorned ex-lovers. You know, like, you want to break up with someone, you try a few times, and then you're like, hey, I don't want to get nasty now, but just, it's over, right?
Yeah, I'm not talking from experience, by the way. So, but no,
this whole social media. Sorry, Albert, go ahead. You go.
No, Sophie, you know what? I love you. Make a great point about. I said it last season. I find it very, very difficult to like this team. Maybe it's because of the era I grew up watching Arsenal, Kevs and Wrighty and Merce and Kevin Richardson. These are guys that I can look at them and I just love them. But you're not going to catch me, buying, no disrespect, buying an Arsenal shirt and putting any of the current players, crop of players, on the back of my shirt. I think that's a reflection of how some of the Arsenal fans feel towards the current squad in recent years, should I say. But with the likes of Aaron Ramsdale and Takahiro flipping Tomiyasu and Gabriel and Ben White, you have hope there. You've got players. You think, you know what? I can hang my hat on these guys. These guys they've got room to nurture and to, the start was on Sunday against Tottenham, but I want to see, obviously, going through the remainder of the season, like I said about relationships and team building, the rest of it. But it's very difficult. It was very difficult to like this team, and I didn't enjoy watching Arsenal play. Whether it's watching them on the television, it's compounded by what you see on social media. We were getting ridiculed. I don't enjoy that as an Arsenal fan. People laughing at us. We're a club with an amazing history. Why are we getting ridiculed by Man? If someone had told me 20 years ago, Man City and Chelsea would build up the amount of silverware they have done over Arsenal, I wouldn't have believed you. And that's not from a place of arrogance. That's just how it was.
You'd put them in a straitjacket.
Yeah,
Albert.
Yeah, 100%, Kev. Yeah. So yeah.
No, agree.
Slowly but surely, I'm getting a little feeling towards the team at the moment. Just a little.
Yeah. Luce, you were going to add something to that, right?
Yeah, the whole club obviously has had a bit of a bitter taste through everything. Like you saw between the players, there's been supposed rumoured fights, Lacazette and Aubameyang, something's gone on. Then obviously the fans turning on each other in recent years and against the manager, against the board. But I do feel like the Tottenham game was a turning point. Like both mentally and physically, we looked stronger. The atmosphere, it just felt like something clicked. So hopefully we keep that consistency, and going forward we can build on that. And I saw a little like Lacazette having a little cuddle with Aubameyang on the touchline. Hopefully that sort of sorted something out. Like it looked like something went on there, and yeah, I'm just hoping it's turned things around for us, and we can actually start to build something up.
Yeah, did they have one of their
a little
lovely
moment? It was
moments?
cute. It was cute. Aubameyang came out to get the ball, and Laka was warming up and they had a little cuddle, and I was like, oh.
That's cool.
You love it. You love it.
Look, I love seeing these guys like this, though. Like they're little bro moments. I mean, you don't have to play every week, Kev, but when you do develop these kinds of, I mean, a team is a team. I mean, look, I'll just put up some bro moments.
Look at that.
Who want that? My favourite. My favourite. Look, he takes this wig everywhere he goes, by the way, just so you guys know. Wears it on a Saturday night. And then look at these guys. Look at these.
Look,
I mean, top shelf.
It's Kojak special, man.
You know that. Some Huggy Bear business.
I mean, I never get bored of seeing those pictures.
No.
And, you know, that's why I love the fact that we're so lucky to have Kev on the show, is because he takes us, you know, into that dressing room, and the player perspective is unique. Sometimes I get crazy. I get emotional. I'm a fan. I mean, this is what we do. This is how we're trained from birth, especially when you grow up with your dad being a Man United fan, for crying out loud. How did that happen? But to see the Tomiyasu Ramsdale moment, like we talked about, to see those moments on the sideline that Luce just mentioned. I'm going to swing back, though, to something before we duck out this evening. If you guys have any questions for the panel, throw them in. We'll have a quick 5 minutes to do that. James, when I asked the question about that consistency and the competitiveness and keeping that going, how much of that is now down to Arteta to keep massaging from a fan point of view? What's your take on that? Because Kev obviously believes the players have to keep that momentum going.
Yeah.
But for his own growth and for some Arsenal fans to still not be sold on him, what does he have to do next?
Win games. I hate to be so dismissive and just easy answer. Win games, just win. You know, like Rocky when she's in the hospital, just win. Start that music. Let's go.
Shout,
you know, go.
Shout.
Just win. Just win. That's it. It's as simple as that. But
now you have me visualizing Arteta at the end of the season holding up the belt, going, "Arsenal fans, we did it!"
Yeah, exactly. That's what we want. That's what we want. That's all we want.
Silverware. You know, we want silverware.
Yeah. If you want people to be happy, just win. Because, you know, okay, there's a select minute few that are very angry still, even after we win. You know, you still see him after we win 3-1, like I said, against your noisy neighbours. But then, you know, it's the old Chaz and Dave. Well, there's no pleasing you, so we don't bother. You know, we don't carry on. But you're talking about the players, right? Kev, you got to live the dream of everybody else that's on this panel. And for a long time, especially like you said, Albert, the players that were there, we had to pay some of these to leave. They don't love being there.
Yeah,
that's wrong. Yeah. We've got to. You need to be paid to leave Arsenal.
Madness.
I mean, even if I wasn't a fan, I would respect Arsenal as a club and everything. And I'm like, you want to be paid to leave? You know how lucky you are. Exactly. You know how lucky you are to be there. But every single person that's here at the moment, I feel, love being there. And some are fans themselves. You know, the ones that have come from the academy, they've supported the club. But everyone else, they want to be there, and that. You feed off that. You know, you're talking about the bro moment between Lacazette and Aubameyang when Aaron Ramsdale saves that shot from Kane in the second half and it rolls out and Tomiyasu makes the clearance and he's on the floor. Ramsdale underneath his arms lifts him up. Yes, mate. They've only known each other 3 weeks.
True. That's a good point.
You know, they've literally just met, and Ramsdale alluded to it in an interview. He said, I was so upset I didn't get picked for England. But instead of getting upset about it, I went into training, worked hard because I wanted to get to know my teammates.
Focus. Yeah.
You never got that off Leno. And I'm not
James,
trying to.
no.
I'm not trying to dig
James,
Leno out.
And that
Leno
save
never used to speak.
that save he made on Sunday was brilliant.
Oh yes, yeah.
World class.
Oh my gosh.
The way he directs. He directs the back line. He directs his wall. Leno doesn't do it. We haven't seen that since Lehman. Anyone directing their wall.
Yeah.
It's so refreshing to see.
And
It
you
makes
know what
sense.
else? He made a suicide pass that went to Jacko.
To Jacko, yeah.
And you know what? I forgave him because I know he'll learn from that. Whereas the other guy that's been in the sticks, he'll do that 3 or 4 times a game. And when Son did score, he was so angry at himself that he went in.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. All right, let me get quick questions for you guys. We've got about 5 or 6 minutes left here with Albert, James, and Lucy. And of course, the legend that is Super Kevin Campbell. Panel smashing it tonight, Kev. No player ratings,
Look at
though.
the quality we've got. Look at the quality we've got.
Kev, you're too kind, Kev.
I'm just sitting back. I'm listening. I'm loving it. I'm a fan. I'm loving it.
All right, a quick one for all of you. And Kev, Guresh is sending this to you, but I'd love everyone else's opinion too. If we have our full squad, can we finish in the top 4? These are the obvious questions we get excited about asking after we beat
Can
Tottenham.
we finish in the top 4? Yes, we can. Of course, we can finish in the top 4. The question is, will we? We can. We have quality. You look at our bench now. Our bench looks a lot stronger than it has done in a long time. If we need to bring a Pepe on, Gabriel Martinelli, Lacazette, you got Sambi Lokonga, you got Maitland-Niles on there. You know, it's a strong bench. Sub-goalkeeper is Leno, etc. We have a strong bench. Can it be stronger? Yes. Can it get better? Yes. But the key for this squad right now is we've got to keep going up those levels and keep knocking down the barriers. Next is Brighton. Get to Brighton, do the business at Brighton. We go up a level. Then, after the international break, can we get back in and sort Crystal Palace out? These are the next things. And once we could start getting a little bit more consistent, so I know the Arsenal fan base. The Arsenal fan base will start buzzing.
Yeah.
Because there's expectation.
Because we have Brighton, Crystal Palace, we got Villa, we got Leeds in the EFL Cup coming up, and then the next game after that is against Leicester. That's some tough matches that we've got coming up. A quick yes or no, James?
No.
Too
Too far a stretch.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's very if we continue to play how we played with the same passion, I believe obviously it's achievable. I would say more realistically top 6 if we continue to play how we played the other day.
Yeah. I think it might be one season too soon, but you know what? There's a lot of weirdness going on again in the league. So we'll see.
Don't let Albert off the hook.
No, I'm not. Albert's next.
Of course I laugh. I think we'll come up just a little bit short, but I hope I'm proved wrong. Come on, Arsenal.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Mr. Arsenal podcast, we literally spoke about this at the top of the show, so you can check that out. We tucked into the media a lot for the first 20 minutes.
Souness got let off, but yeah, we tucked into the rest.
Yeah, I mentioned him loosely, but you're right, JJ.
I worry he might come and chase me. I've seen the highlights. You know, I don't need flags put in the middle of my house and my legs broken. I'm good.
No,
I'm going to leave Souness alone.
Let's see. GB says, would it be better to win silverware this season over finishing top 4? Or is a top 4 finish something that benefits the project moving forward enough to make it preferable? Albert.
Good question. Great question.
That's a good one.
And I love silverware.
Oh, it's nice and shiny, isn't it?
It's beautiful, Sophie. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's beautiful. You know what? I love my silverware. Now, people might kill me for it. But yeah, silverware. 100%.
Loose?
I agree. Personally, I think this is more of a long-term project for the Premier League. Like this season, I wouldn't sort of pin my hopes on getting back into Europe. I would sort of take what we can get as far as building confidence with this team is concerned. And it's always nice to give it a little bit of ag to them scum up the lane when they don't win anything and we do. So
well said,
always nice. Always nice.
Very, very nice. And James, we can get into Europe by winning some silverware. What's your take?
I'll throw it back to Kevin. Kevin, when you were playing, Did you want a medal at the end of the year, or did you want to finish in a European place?
Give me the
Always
medals.
a medal.
There we
Give me the
go.
silverware.
There he is.
Give me the silverware. Because here's the crazy thing. When you took your team picture and there was no silverware in front of you, it never felt right.
Well said.
But when you're there and there's a league title and there's a FA Cup, there's a League Cup, and then there's a Cup Winners' Cup, you've all of a sudden you're thinking, all that hard work we put in has paid off.
Validation.
You get
Yeah,
nothing. You
100%.
get nothing for top four. Yeah, you go into the Champions League and maybe you could attract, but it hasn't done us any favors for the last 20 odd years, has it?
100%.
Well, look at the
Give me
window
the
we've had
silverware.
this year without the Europe. I think we've had a good window regardless.
Yeah, I think so too. But do you know what, James? Here's the thing. If we were in Europe, that Spurs game could have been different.
Yeah, 100%.
Because now we'd be preparing for a game tomorrow, in a couple of days.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's so much more difficult. Now we could rest, we could scheme, we could ease ourselves into the game plan better because we've got more time.
Yeah, you all said it earlier. Being without Europe this year is massive help. Well, not massive in terms of financial, but in helping
No,
us.
of course.
Yeah.
Well, we
But in
had to
growth.
adapt our recruitment policy because of it, right? I mean, we still had Europa League football when we signed Oberlacher, Partey, Gabriel, Pepe. Without any European football, as we've seen, our profile has had to be lowered a little. But with that said, it was just like the year we signed Martinelli for 8 million. What a great signing. It doesn't always have to be a household name. And also, Kev and panel, we don't want to be in the Champions League because we think we can win it. What it brings from a fiscal perspective to the club is huge, right? We could have won the Europa League and we missed that boat. But again, there's always an avenue back to Europe with the domestic trophies as well. So not sure we're going to make that top 4 or top 6 this year. We might get into the top 6, who knows? But it's going to be a tough one.
Sophie,
right?
even though we had a bad season last season, we still could have made the top 6.
We could have won the Europa League as well.
No, but look how awful we were last season, and we still had opportunities to win. If this squad could just up it a couple of levels, we're in with a chance. Because this year you will see different teams beating the big boys. Watch, it's gonna be an awesome season this year.
We didn't do too badly against some of the top teams last season, did we? I mean, compared to other seasons, I think, Unai didn't do too badly. I think we beat Chelsea
twice.
We beat twice. Did we not beat Man United on one account? At their place.
Yeah, we drew it off.
I mean, these are steps. City is always going to be a pickle for us, but I think that the proof will be in the pudding of not only, Kev, though. We lost twice to Wolves. We lost twice to Aston Villa. We only got 1 point off Burnley last season. So it's those games too where we need to make sure that we pick up points. And we lost some of those games in humiliating fashion.
Yeah, but Sophie, here's the funny thing. Last season, you didn't hear people saying, "Oh, Burnley are a good side." This is our own fans. We're crap. Now we beat Norwich and beat Burnley. Oh, it's only Norwich and Burnley. We can't win, even with our own fans. Every time you cross that white line for Arsenal, you're going to get the best of the opposition. Trust me. So every game is a challenge. So keep winning, boys. Just keep winning.
It's the back five. You just got to wrap that
100%.
back five in because you said about the bench earlier, Kevin. That's the only way. That's the only place where I'm like the drop off. Okay, I like Tavares. I actually think Tavares is quite a good player, so I'm not really overly concerned if Tierney goes down. But the rest of them, that the level really.
Mari and Holden, innit?
Yeah, and Cedric and
That is 100% correct. There are now certain positions where, like, other teams where you just don't want to lose, certain soldiers as part of the army. You cannot afford for Mari and Chambers and Holding to have to come back in and us rely on them. That's 100% correct. Well said, Mark. Spot on, James. Spot on to the entire panel. There's a couple of Saliba questions, but I'm not sure I want to focus on him because everyone's asking, what does this mean for him? I don't think we're going to know that until the season evolves and progresses. But when we bring you guys back for a round 2, we can definitely talk about those things. Any last comments? Luce, I'll start with you about the Arsenal this week, the NLD going into Brighton. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I think essentially it's just take every game as it comes, and we need to keep things consistent. I know we keep saying it, but it's been such an issue with us in the past. The pressure is on now. We've seen what these players can do. I hope it's not a complete team change on Saturday. I'm sure it won't be after what we saw, but yeah, I'm excited, man. Like I said, I think it was a turning point against Spurs. I'm excited to see what these new signings can do, and yeah, roll on the next game.
Epic. Albert?
Just quickly, with Arteta, he has his faults and he doesn't help himself. But I must admit, on that game in isolation on Sunday, when the VT sort of cut to him, he was pumped. And you know what? I felt that any Arsenal fan in the stadium for that day, I thought, you know what? I'll give it to you this time, son. You done all right.
Deserve that.
Yeah, 100%. Brighton, Sophie, if we play awful and win, happy days. Happy. Momentum is key. Continue, back 5, midfield, come on strikers. Let's do this, man. Let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be adverse to, to seeing a little bit more of, where is it? I have it somewhere. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more of that.
Yeah,
I think we all would.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
James?
Yeah, just like I said, just keep loving one another because no one else seems to love us. So, you mentioned it earlier, Kevin. If we've all got to stick together because nobody else will. That's the main thing. And just keep relying on the old Fukayoka Cafu because that's the guy. That's the guy.
Brilliant from you guys. Let everyone know where they can find you. Luce, give everyone your handle. Please go follow these guys. They're fantastic. They know their football. I know you've enjoyed the show tonight. We're going to bring them back. Lovely panel. Luce, let everyone know where they can find you.
Just before that, another word. On the post-match vlog, I was very critical of Arteta's choices when I saw the team news. I'll hold my hands up and say, yeah, he did good. He did good. I want to be proved wrong more than anything.
Just the one decision?
I won't comment. You can go watch it.
I'm going to post it. I'm going to post it right after this. So.
Oh God, yeah. So I'm LUCETBH, Luce, to be honest, on Instagram and Twitter. Come see me ranting.
Excellent. James, let everyone know where they can find you, mate.
Yeah, hello, cool James 91, and then all the channels that I contribute to are on there if you want to sub and watch me as well.
Excellent. And Albert.
Sophie, thank you for the invite. I have to big you up, Sophie.
Great debut. Great debut.
Sophie, you're that kind of person. Everyone's going to relate to this, right? There's that teacher you always used to listen to in school. When you talk, Sophie, I'm like, you know what? I like this woman.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. So I appreciate.
What did I say? What did I say on Twitter earlier? One of the nicest that way. Sorry, not this. What way? This way.
The other way. Yeah,
nicest
You
gentleman.
got it.
Nicest gentleman on Twitter. This guy. Every stream I see him in, always beaming, happy. Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome, Albert. And thank you for your kind words. We love. Kevin and I love having new voices on the show, and brilliant stuff from you and from James and from Lucy tonight, and of course Super Kevin Campbell. Kev, yellow card for Newman. He was talking a little bit too much about his bowel movements in chat.
He's always talking.
And I'm sorry.
Smack, is he talking?
He's
smack?
He's going in the book. Taib tried to save him, but I'm not having it. If I was mute for being 2 minutes late, he says it's first. Can you believe it?
I can't. Oh, I thought he was due for his 5-game suspension. No,
I've got 4.
Yeah,
Kev's going to have to host the show next week.
I know.
Let's let Super Kev take it out for us tonight. Thanks again, you guys, from me, Super Kev.
Listen, Lucy, thank you, James, Albert, hostess with the mostest, Sophie, as always, fantastic. Great to to chew the fat with you guys and talk all good things Arsenal. And it makes a difference when we win, especially against that lot down the road. But you know who the stars of the show are, and I'm not just talking about Vinny. It's the squaddies. So everybody, I'd like you to do the salute and wish them a happy evening, and we'll see you. Come on, guys. Come on, Lucy. Everybody.
Wait, am I the right way?
Right
Right
hand,
hand,
right
there you
hand.
go.
I'll get
Very
it one
good.
day.
Yeah,
One day I'll get it.
We salute you, squaddies, and thanks for joining us. Keep hitting the like button, and we'll see you next time. So,
God bless.
at ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.